everyone, welcome back to Train Simulator 2020. It's been a while since I've done any Train Simulator videos because I've mostly been playing Train Sim World, which is the kind of Dovetail updated version as opposed to this, which is the Dovetail kind of older version. It's still being updated, but the key difference with this is that third-party add-ons are still being made for this one, whereas Train Sim World is mostly limited to things that have been developed by Dovetail. But there is definitely still updates to it, and so we may as well come back. I don't think I'm doing anything new here. I'm just focusing on a route that I know quite well, because the truth is I'm actually not very well. So let's just get set up here for a start. I'm trying to remember where the headlights is. So the key difference between this version is that not everything is clickable, whereas in this is what we're looking for. Whereas in why is that not working? In Train Sim World, everything works as it should. So we've got our lights on. And rear train, we've got the correct lights. So we're driving quite a long train, and it's the express journey over to Edinburgh. And despite being... oh no, we are actually outside of the platform. That explains it, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm actually not very well, and I'm medicated off my eyeballs, so, you know, not probably the smartest thing to be driving a train, but whatever, we'll see how it goes. Window wipers should be about here. Train's ready to set off in 10 seconds. There we go. Right, okay. So double buzzes from the guard means that we're good to go. So we'll put the reverser into the full forward position, which it is in. We'll release the brakes, and it's after. We've now got the green light, so we're good to go. So doors closed, window wipers on, headlights off. We're all set up. So we're just going to go here. So this train has got a combined lever with braking steps, and then it's got its 7 forward powers. We're on power level 1, I think, at the moment, which is... oh no, we'll be on 2 at the moment. But that's fine, because we just need to keep things nice and easy, because the speed limit's only 15 miles an hour until we get past this 30-mile-an-hour board. Okay, and I'm just going to retract this off, because as you can see, so we've been told, so the down line is the one that we're currently on, and we've been told that we've got the up line, so we're obviously coming to the left, so we obey that speed sign. That nice lovely scraping of the rails. Whoop whoop. So I'm just going to put a little bit of power back on. Once our last carriage is through, we should be back up to 30 miles an hour. It's quite a steep hill actually. So you can see here we're now on a 1 in 50 gradient. So for every 1 meter we go forward, we actually go 50 meters up. Pardon me. For every 50 meters that we go forward, we go 1 meter up, which is actually quite significant for railway. So I'm going to put us to 100% throttle. Can't really see anything at the moment. Unfortunate thing about the headlights in this is that they don't quite illuminate up the rails. Got a green light ahead, and just keeping us on full power at the moment, just because of the steep hill. I don't actually know what the steepest hill a train can actually go up in, but I know that there was a challenge back on the old Trains games, which was trying to get a train up a 1 in 30 hill, which is ridiculously steep, God, I found it really hard to do. Anyway, yeah, if I do anything a bit strange, or if I'm perhaps not as talkative as normal, or if I'm not making as much sense as normal, just please bear in mind that I am a tad medicated, so I don't know what's happening. Okay, so we're about to go for 40 miles an hour, and we've got 6 oh, hello. Yeah, so we've got the just clicking the AWS there because the signal is double yellow, so that means that the next signal is yellow. Oops, that's something, come on. Yeah, so double yellow means the next signal is at yellow, which means the signal after that's at red. Coming up to a single yellow signal here. So this is the AWS. So we're going to get... oh no, that's the AWS going the other way. This is the AWS going this way. You can tell that by the silver ramp, so just be ready on that one. I'm just going to kill the power in case we need to stop. So we're still going uphill, so I'll just let gravity brake us for just now. Our next signal should be red. Currently not seeing it. Just going to give us a slight bit of power. Can we see the signal? No, it's off to the left a bit. Just give us a wee bit more power because we're back to, well, we're still on the 150. Here we go, right. So, yeah, still got a red light ahead. And our light's just gone green, so we're waiting for this train to go past, which it has now done. So we've now got a green light with a feather that we're going to the first right position. Speed limit's going to increase to 50 miles an hour, and AWS is fine. So the sunflower dial got retracted, which is fine. I'm not increasing speed too much at the moment because I just want to make sure that there's no speed limit when we turn off to the side, which there doesn't seem to be. Oh, hang on, this has got a board. Yeah, so we're limited to 40 miles an hour getting turned off to the right, which is basically what we're doing. So here we go. And we've got a whistle board here, so we're just going to sound our horn, which is quite pathetic sounding. Okay, so that might be for people going over to the left. Green light ahead, and we're now clear of the signal, which means we're back up to 50 miles an hour. So let us just pick up some speed. And I don't think it's still raining, so let's put the window wipers off. Okay. Yeah, we just missed the start of that. So yeah. So 85 miles an hour as soon as the last carriage has passed, which is now. Okay. So off we go. So this is a semi-stopping service, so Glasgow has quite a lot of suburban train stations, which Edinburgh doesn't really have as much of. So we'll basically be passing through a lot of stations but not stopping at them. So we're still on green lights and we're coming up hard on Bishop Briggs. So we're still maintaining full speed at the moment. Speed limit here is 85 miles an hour. And this is Bishop Briggs. There we go. So I've just heard the train kick up into second gear. I can't quite remember if... Yeah, okay. So yeah, so you can see the two gears. How did I do this? Ah, there we go. It's F2. Right, so I'm about to get squawked at because this is a double yellow. So here's the AWS, so get ready on that. So you see the sunflower come up. So this could mean, okay, so this is a train that's delayed and I actually kind of want rid of that. Oh, hello. There we go. Okay, I'm going to put us on the brakes just now. So we'll do stage 1 braking because we can kind of see our... oh no, we've got a green light now, I think. So I'm just going to wind off... our brake and keep an eye on it. So there's a delayed train ahead, and we're just over half a mile until the next train signal. And I'm pretty sure this is giving me the clearance to turn left, but I just want to make sure. Yeah, okay, definitely. Hello, trees randomly loading in. Okay, so let's just... Yeah, okay, so we've got 40 mile an hour warning board up ahead. So I'm actually just going to keep us nice and easy on the throttle. We're currently running 2 minutes early, which is nice. So this is going to see a sunflower go away because it is in fact a green signal, and the feather is lit up, which means we're now going to be moving from the fast line into the slower line, or more correctly, I believe that we're going to be going from the down line into the up line. Some tracks are bi-directional, but in many cases they like to what speed are we? We're quite over speed here, so 40 miles an hour. So we're just going to make sure that we're not speeding here, which we're not. So we've got everyone stopped for us just now. The train coming in the down line going towards Glasgow, and then the one coming behind us. And we're just going to pick up our speed a bit. So we're now into green signals. And we're now 5 miles away from Croy, which is our next station. And indeed, my old... it used to be my home. Or more correctly, it used to be the closest train station to my home, so we took it quite a lot. Back up to 100 miles an hour now, so we're just going to absolutely punch it to see what's what. Yeah, so as I was saying, some train tracks are bi-directional, where you can go down either one effectively, but in the UK the precedent is that the left track is the one you know, going this this way, and then the right one is the one going opposing. So like in the previous set of tracks, you could see that it was bi-directional because there were signals on both the left side of the track and right side of the track, whereas now we're on single directional track, so you can see that there's a light on my track but there's no light on the right side of the track, which would allow us to drive down this side. So as a result, that was why we needed to filter into this one. So we're coming up to a bridge. That little red and white signal means that there's not much clearance, so basically that warns anyone who's doing work on the bridge that if they had to dive into the side for any reason, they might actually find themselves not having enough space to get out of trains, so just to have a safe place available. So we're back up to 100 miles an hour, so maximum acceleration. We don't have to worry about any of that. And we're now just a little over 4 miles to Croy, which is fine. Also, yeah, I've got the full thing, I don't like that. There we go, that's what I want. Funnily enough, for a game that's not as significantly, you know, graphically intensive, unlike Train Sim World, I'm noticing that the frames are chugging quite a lot, and I also like the polar skybox is kind of fucked up a bit. That's, oh dear, we'll try and not look at the skybox. So the thing is, like, Train Sim 2020 is an evolution of the old Railworks engine, which was, I mean, my first, put it this way, my first ever video on YouTube was done in 2010, and it was a video of something I was developing for Railworks, a now long abandoned project. So I mean, that's how long ago Railworks, you know, I mean, this is a 9-year-old engine effectively, so I mean, don't get me wrong, it holds up quite well, and they added cool things, like it was a fairly recent development where they added like rain droplets on the windows and things, which was pretty cool. But yeah, it is a tad annoying that the frame rates keep dropping. And unlike Train Sim World, this isn't just a video artifact on the video for you guys. I'm actually getting the frame drops in screen as well, because I know there was some problems with my video on Train Sim World that whenever I zoomed in like this, it caused the thing to spaz out, and then yeah, not good. Speaking of not good, I mean, how'd you screw up a skybox? Come on! Right, okay, speed limit is 100 miles an hour, and we're basically hitting the angry part of the line, so I'm just going to... Actually, we're just coming up on Croy nice and quickly here. We've got we're kind of, yeah, we're running all right for time, so I'm just gonna ease us off. I'm gonna put us to stage 2 braking, so that's stage 1, stage 2 here. Actually, no, I'll put us to 60% braking just now because we're coming into Croy. Quite hot, I would suggest. And by 60, I mean I'm put up to 82 because I think I was coming in way too hot. So here's the platform just coming into shot, and so we're just going to ease off on the brake. So that hissing is the air releasing itself from the system. We can afford to do a bit of a slow entry into Croy because we're not due for another 60 seconds, which is fine and good. So now I want to look for the 6-car stop board, which I cannot see, so I might just aim for the end of the platform. 3 and 6-car stop board, here we are. Right, okay. Like a glove, ya boy! However, Railworks, Christ, I'm going back in time now. Yeah, the thing's doing its, as you can see, I'm well in front of the, I've got plenty of space until the actual stop board, but it doesn't open the doors because the platform length that's simulated isn't always the platform length that appears, which is an annoying little feature of Railworks, the Railworks engine. But we're here, we're secure, we're happy. Let's just whack on that, which is a driver's reminders appliance, which basically prevents me from leaving until the doors are closed. And yeah, happy days. So yeah, Croy. So yeah, this is my old stomping ground. So there's a road up here of the town over that way. Which I believe is it Kirkintilloch? I can't quite remember. I mean, it's been like well over a decade since I stayed there. But yeah, this is the side of the road where I'm from. So you follow this road up a wee bit, and then this is in fact, which is not modelled, but this is in fact a golf course, and then there's a little path here which takes you up to where I used to stay when I was a mild ankle biter. I mean, we moved back when I was like, I don't know, 9 years old or something, so I'm now I'm now quite a bit older than that. So yeah. I've actually not set I've not set foot in this part of the world. Not set foot in this part of the world literally since we moved away, so it was amazing. I can still remember that. Anyway, doors are closed, guards buzzed in, the rain's back on again, so let's get the window wipers on. Doors are closed and locked, so we're happy with that. Driver reminder appliance is off, let's ease off on the brake, and we're after 15 seconds, so we're clear to go with a green signal. So brakes released, engine at 40%. I'm just going to reduce it a bit because it's wet, so we'll make sure we've got no wheel slip. Okay, that's fine. 10 miles an hour and it's a 100 mile an hour speed limit, so we're just going to punch it to full forward. Amazing! Okay, our next stop is Falkirk High, which is another 10 miles away, so we're just going to gun that at full speed, see where we can get to. Again, we've got another interesting thing where what you're seeing in the video is actually, oh hello, the game's actually all tabbed. What you're seeing on the video is actually quite a lot brighter than what I'm seeing in real life, as in on my screen. So like, you know, I can barely see, you know, I can barely see the signal. I can see it a lot clearer now that it's starting to get closer, whereas I can see it quite easily in the video. So at least it's nice and bright for you. You always, you know, it's having things at night is obviously an important part of life, but it's not really fun to have a video where you can't see exactly jack shit. Okay, so yeah, so this is the raindrop technology that I was telling you about before, where I don't know, it's quite interesting. It's not just an effect. If I put the window wipers off, you see that the specs are just going to keep getting added and added and added and added. And it's a really cool touch because, like, quite often it's quite unrealistic the way that rain used to be modelled in games. And fair enough, because it's like it's a processor intensive process for something that doesn't actually bring you a lot of benefits. But I mean, it's a nice touch. It's a nice touch. Okay, so we don't have any trains in front of us, which means we should be having a relatively green run through to Falkirk High, unless something unexpected comes up. Yeah, and this is the other thing that's cool, is like the side windows, you can see that the rain actually moves with the motion of the train, which is just, it's pretty whack. It's pretty cool. I love the way it's simulated, actually. It's really good. Okay, so train's gone up into second gear, which is why the engine notes have come down quite a little bit. So trains are, of course, automatic nowadays. I remember, if you remember my video from the Class 101 train, that was actually a manual sequential train, as opposed to an automatic train, which is interesting because it means you had to use the clutch in order to change gear, whereas this does it automatically. So once you hit about this being the Class 170, it happens at just shy of 70 miles an hour. In the Class 166, I believe it happens at about the 47 mile an hour mark, so quite a bit sooner than that. But yeah, it helps trains stay fuel efficient as they travel at faster speeds, which is always good. Trains, of course, being one of the ways that that it's quite easy to save a lot of money on, because actually, yeah, they are big, and certainly like older technology where you had like the disgusting quality diesel trains. You know, you could see the black smoke billowing out of them, and it really wasn't good for the environment. So maybe not then, but definitely now with our more modern trains, they're really like environmentally friendly is maybe not the right word. Maybe environmentally friendly in the sense that you can get like electric trains, which obviously have no emissions, which is perfect. But even with emissions trains, like this is a diesel train, as you can tell by the fact that there's no overhead power lines and no pantographs. Because rails are nearly frictionless, which is why trains can't stop on a dime in the same way that like a car could easily brake from like 100 miles an hour to 0 within a few seconds. You cannot do that in a train because the rails are nearly frictionless. That's a downside. It does have some downsides. The upside being that because it's frictionless, it's really quite energy efficient to travel on when you keep going. Once you've got up to speed, you can keep going with minimal friction, which means it's a really energy efficient way to travel. Plus trains, as you know, can move huge amounts of goods. So, you know, I think it'll stop raining again. So yeah, it's pretty good. Sorry, I feel like I'm still really scattered because obviously I can't brain. We've not been feathered off, so we don't have to worry about that just as well, because we're travelling so fast that we would have barrel rolled this thing off of the corner. Okay. So we're still due 1 minute ahead of time at Falkirk High, which we're not due in for another 6 minutes, which is fine. Has this got passenger seating? No, it doesn't. That's rude. Some trains you can actually push a button and you can actually go sit there, which is, you know, somewhat interesting to do. Ah, looks like we're coming into another gradient section again. So the reason why I have to have this running is in real life, you actually have to set a course for every route that you do that basically says when you see a green signal, you know, do you remember that this is a signal for the train track that you are on and not like a road traffic signal for a nearby road. Obviously, as a simmer and not a train driver, I don't have that training and insight, so for me it's actually important to have a tool of where the next signals are. I don't like to see what the signals are because obviously I'm doing this realistically enough that I should still be paying attention, but it's important for me to be able to see the signals because I won't have that inside knowledge of exactly where the braking points for the stations are, and also where the next signals are. Okay. Graphics are still spazzing out a bit, which is unfortunate, and it's weird. It's weird that it's happening at all, really, because I mean, like I say, it's quite a dated engine, and it's not. Oh, I'm just going to ease off on the throttle because we're going into a downhill section. Yeah, like I've never had problems with the graphics with this game before, but this is also the first time I've played it since I've moved from AMD chipset into an Intel chipset, and I know chipset architecture can sometimes have a big effect on how games work. So we're just about to come into Falkirk High. So I'll just actually give us a wee gentle brake just now. So we're on 50% braking, we're still quite a fair bit out, so that should be alright. Actually, I think I've been braking a little bit too much. I can't even see the platform, and so I know from experience that with a diesel multiple unit like this, you can bring yourself to a stop as long as you're at 30 miles an hour by the start of the station platform. So we're okay, I think. So this is the platform just about to begin here, where that train is. So we're gonna wind our neck in. God, I thought for the split of seconds it was on my side of the tracks. It really did look like it. So there's a Glasgow bound service just pulling away for ScotRail, which is of course quite, you know, old now, given that we are, how's it? Albeo ScotRail or some nonsense? Whatever one has this livery. Yeah, okay. So that's a 3-car stop, but we're a 6-car train. So yeah, so there's a 6-car stop. I just need to whack off the brakes just a bit because we brought ourselves to a stop too quickly. I'm just gonna go inside here. Well, thank God we had some time in hand, because I basically made a butchery of this stop, haven't I? Okay, that's close enough. Right, okay, reminder appliance on, and the doors are going to open. I don't think I actually have a doors button. Oh no, that's that one. Right, okay, doors. Doors are open. Okay, so yeah, this is Falkirk. I don't really frequent Falkirk very often, so I don't know if I have anything of interest to say about Falkirk. It's a place. Yeah. Yeah. So I believe Falkirk is our penultimate stop, so the next one is going to... Oh no, it's not our penultimate stop. So we've then got to go to Linlithgow, and then we are Haymarket, Waverley, and then we are to return this train to its depot. So yeah, this is actually quite a long journey, which I'm now starting to regret, because one, my medication is starting to wear off and the pain's starting to come back, and two, I'm also incredibly drained from not being very well, so maybe doing an hour and 20-minute long video wasn't the smartest decision I have ever made. But I mean, I'm currently sitting at home writhing in pain and feeling sorry for myself, so I figured I may as well do something at least semi-productive in life. I regretty some spaghetti. Successful drop, trade play. Cool, so we're in. So, guard's gonna buzz us at some point. Or we'll buzz the guard. Come on, guard. Maybe I missed the buzzing. Anyway, whatever. We'll take the DRA off. We've got the clearance to go. So, and the green light. Doors are secured and locked. So, reminder appliance off. Brakes off. Gentle acceleration to stage 2. So we're just about 10 miles an hour, which means we can now floor it. So the only reason why you start up here is that, and it comes back to what we were saying before, is that trains have frictionless wheels, or nearly frictionless wheels. So it is remarkably easy to put down too much power too quickly, and the wheels just they just spin up. Which can actually cause damage to the wheels and the tracks in real life, which is why you don't do it. The other interesting thing about trains is perhaps not like a passenger train, which is often quite light compared to freight trains, but certainly if you're carrying cargo, it is actually possible to be traveling along comfortably at, like, say 70 miles an hour, and then all of a sudden your wheels just start spinning up on you because they've lost traction. That actually happens quite a lot, and I don't know if something like this will have it, but there is actually a button on many train systems that they've actually got a little see, I can't even, like, the with it being quite dated, you can't quite see what the buttons say. But in many trains, they've got a little kind of filter, a little thing that comes out of the front underneath the bogie, and what it does is it puts a fine layer of sand onto the tracks to give you that little bit more traction, which is obviously quite useful if you are struggling for traction, particularly, you know, so if there's ice or if there's snow on the tracks, that can really decrease the friction in the tracks, but also stuff like leaves in autumn time. The mulch that comes off from the leaves dropping onto the track and then decomposing can also make them remarkably slippy, which means it's important to do that. See, I just wonder if I go to options. Maybe I have to do it inside. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I remember. I don't remember the graphics being this bad that you can't actually read what the things are. I mean, it is important. One important caveat is that this. Oh god, I keep doing that. This is add-on train, so it's not been made by the developers, which, you know, sometimes that can be a good or bad thing. So, like, if you look at PMDG for the flight simulator world, they obviously make stupendously good quality add-ons, well over and above the quality of the stuff that's been made by default. But certainly by the same token, you can get some developers. Let's maybe not name First Class Simulations, who just, like, all they're interested in is throwing out add-ons as quickly as possible, and they're actually not of a particularly high quality, which is quite a shame, actually. So yeah, oh good, that's not the station that we're stopping at, I don't think. Where is this actually? Where are we? This is Pullman. Yes, okay. Yeah. So, like, you know, third party doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but it definitely doesn't necessarily mean it's good either. I'm not accusing whoever made this of any wrongdoing. I'm just suggesting that I don't know if the lack of textures is because my texture settings are lower than they should be, or if this is just the maximum resolution of the add-on. I don't know. I'll need to check this out after the video, because I can't seem to do it here. So we're about to go back up to 100 miles an hour, so we're about to pass all 6 cars. So at this kind of speed, the way I usually do it is above 60 miles an hour. You usually just count when the last carriage passes as a number of seconds for the number of carriages that you pass. So at 100, when you pass the speed board, you would just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you're clear to accelerate beyond 90 miles an hour, because you'll normally be fine. At slower speeds, you'll probably need to take it a bit more carefully. So we've lost quite a bit of time. So we need to be quite on our braking game here, because we're now only when we pulled into Croy and to Falkirk, we had a good 60 seconds in hand at least, and now we actually only have about 15 seconds in hand. So we're going to have to really nail our braking, otherwise I'm at risk of making this service late, which I don't particularly want to do. I'm just going to ease off on the accelerator just because we've got a 90-mile-an-hour board coming up. I'm actually just going to gently brake us. So I think by the time that the pneumatics come off, oh no, I was mistaken. Okay. Right, so we're going to have to really nail our braking here. So as soon as we can see the signal after this, I want to start braking a fair bit. This is where I screw it up. I don't know, we've clawed back another 15 seconds. Probably because of that little, I don't know, accidental venture of speeding that we've had here. Okay. Right, here we go. So this is the signal and this is the train station just coming up hard for us. So I'm just watching out for our stopping boards. So I'm just gently braking us in. So we're at 30 miles an hour, which means we'll be fine to stop at the board. There's a 6-car stop board. So I'm just bouncing on the brake pedal. Crap. No, we screwed up. Yeah, so we've done too much braking, which was always the fear. Right, okay. Right, we're stopped. Doors open. Yeah, we still made it in about 20 seconds early, so that's fine by me and my standards. So only some of the train actually fits into this station, which is a bit annoying. I suppose we are a bit far back actually, but yeah. Oh no, all the train does. Oh, hang on. Yeah, good. It's just got nice long platforms. They're just skewed ever so slightly. So this is Linlithgow, the site of, I don't actually know if it's modelled. Anyway, in fact, I don't even know if you can see it of the from the train tracks at all. Linlithgow is the site of Linlithgow Palace, which is old building. It's a tourist attraction, very much a prominent landmark as you drive past Linlithgow, but otherwise not a place where I've been much. Rain's coming back on, so we'll get the window wipers on the go. And it's just a case of waiting until our next one. Aha, successful stop. Cool. Happy days. Oh, there's a freight train. Okay, double buzz from the guard, so we'll buzz back to let him know that we've received his message. Doors are closed and locked. Driver reminder appliance off. Let's actually see if I can wheel spin to see if I can show you what it's like. I don't know if this train will do it because I suspect it's too light. Yeah, it's too light. Oh well, never mind. You can normally tell when you're wheel spinning. One, because with this interface up, it gives you a big warning to say that you're wheel spinning. But you can always hear you can hear a rapid whoosh 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 underneath the wheels as they're kind of spinning, and it sounds very uncomfortable. But yeah, this train's too light. So instead, we're just going to gun it at full speed for our next station, which is Haymarket. So Haymarket's now when we start getting into Edinburgh proper, which means we're not going to be able to do much of this gunning it at full speed. We're going to have to pay attention to lower speed limits. So while we're still on the outskirts of Edinburgh, we're still clear up to 100 miles an hour. So we're going to accelerate at full speed until then, and I think I can just show you if I do this. Yeah, so you'll see here, because we're at 50 miles an hour now, and we're still in first gear. You can hear the engine's very, very high revs at the moment. and then our speed's going to start slowing down as we get to 60 miles an hour, and then it'll fire into second gear, and that will give us the speed that we need to get up to 100 miles an hour. So here we go, we're at 60 miles an hour, and you will hear the engine drop in tone once you change up to second gear. I think it happens about 65 miles an hour, so it should just be, here we go. Yeah, so it's changed, you can now hear the engine notes dropping, and our acceleration continues because we are we're now in second gear, which now gives us a higher limit, so now I can get rid of that and get this back. Cool. So we're at 75 miles an hour on a hill going upwards. Speed is fine, and there's no sign of any impending speed changes. So we're fine to go through the countryside, and I'm so pleased to see that it shows Scotland so correctly. Specifically, that it's raining all the time forever, and that the skies are remarkably grey, and the landscape is somewhat, yeah. So, I guess looking at wider video content, I'm starting to get a lot better at having getting back into doing YouTube videos. I am hoping to start increasing the amount of sim content I do, depending on how much time I do, because out of all of the series I have, sim videos, train sim, flight sim, that kind of thing, arguably takes significantly longer to do, because I've got the prep work, and then I've also got the fact that it takes over an hour to record them, which can be quite difficult to manage at times, particularly since I have a busy schedule about to get even busier. However, one thing I am looking forward to is the brand new Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, for which the graphics for it look utterly immense. So that's one thing that I'm very much looking forward to. So in that regard, you probably won't see any more flight sim from me until then. Yeah, or maybe you will. I don't know. I think the thing is that flight sim has, despite all the high-powered computer that I have, it still runs like arse, and I don't particularly enjoy playing a slideshow, and I imagine that you guys don't quite like watching a slideshow. So I'm just putting this down at 50% braking at the moment, because we're about to come into 88 mile an hour zone, which we've done. So I had a wee bit of speed in there. I'm going to bring us back up to restore our speed. And we're going to go back up to 90 miles an hour. So the thing about Edinburgh is it actually still looks remarkably green as you're coming in on the train, which is quite nice, quite endearing. I'm actually just going to say, in fact, we're about to start going downhill, so I'm just going to be very, oh crap. Yeah, we're about to start going downhill, so I'm just going to be quite careful on the throttles. I'm in a tunnel. Okay, 90 mile an hour board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All carriages passed, so let's pick up the accelerator. So we'll get a little bit of a speed boost by going downhill, which is helpful. And as you can see, we've got 30 seconds in hand for getting to Haymarket, which is good. Oh look, another train. Feels like it's been a while since we've seen one of those. It's going very slowly, actually. Interesting. So, one thing that's of interest... Oh, whistleboard. So, we sound our horn there. And that's just because of the long bridge with narrow clearance. So one thing that's interesting, oh actually, it's typical. This one doesn't show it. I'll have to see if there's another one somewhere else. But it's just a note about signals. So the signal 2 before that, I'll see if this one has it before I talk about it. Actually, coming up in about half a mile. So we're actually about to go back up to 100 miles an hour. That's an interesting signal, shunting signal here. Maybe explain about those sometime. In fact, I'll save that for when we get to the depot. So we're about to go back up to 100 miles an hour. This is the speed limit board here, and I bet you this signal doesn't have what I wanted to talk about. No, that's fine. No, it does not. Okay. So some of the signals have. Let's just see if any of these ones do. Oh God. Quite a lot of distance in there. No. So all the signals are numbered with a serial number. One, so that if there's a fault with a signal, the driver can just phone up to the controller and say what signal they are stuck at or what signal has an issue. Some of the signals, so this one, see the 2 white bars on the top of it, that's a signal to the drivers that signal is automated. So all the other signals that just have a normal plate on it, that means that it's actually controlled by a signaler, and so it'll, if it's red, it may be because there is a train on the line ahead, or it might mean that the points are not pointing in the right direction. There could be a wide variety of issues as to the cause of a red light. However, the automatic signal is the one with the 2 stripes. Basically, it means that there's no points on that section of the track, and there is little going on. There's so little going on that the controllers don't need to have direct control over what aspect that signal is showing. So it's automatic. So if it's red, you basically can rule out points, you can rule out anything. You basically know that either the signal has a fault or there is a train on the track ahead. Those are basically your two options. Why is that useful information? Because as we've discussed at the very start of this video, train tracks don't always have the right infrastructure for trains to be able to go on the wrong side for any significant length of time. So if there's a fault with the signal and the signaler knows that there isn't a train on the track ahead, what the signaler can do is the signaler can actually instruct the driver through the telephone, which all trains have, or indeed you can get out and there is another, there's telephones dotted throughout the rail line. You can phone through and you can basically, the signaler can say, right, I need you to pass a signal at red. And if you're at an automatic signal, you know what you're looking out for. You're basically looking out for another train on the line. Whereas if you're at a different kind of signal, you might have to come to a stop before you have any junctions and do a visual inspection of the track to make sure that the points are lined up in the direction that you think that they're pointed up, that they're lined up in. I need to slow down before I get another speeding penalty. So yeah, that's a bit of insight as to what them boards mean. So we're now starting to come into Edinburgh. We've now passed, I believe that was Edinburgh Park, and we're just about to go down. I'm going to brake quite sharp actually because we're about to hit the speed sign. Cool. Okay, so we're going to bring us back up to 71 miles. So this is Murrayfield. So we're now into Edinburgh proper. My house is approximately 5 miles over that direction, which is not too shabby. So coming in 90 miles an hour, got 40 miles an hour ahead as we get close to Haymarket. So this track over to the left is stuff that's coming from the north of Scotland, whereas this track is stuff coming from west. This is stuff coming from the south. So Edinburgh did used to have a suburban network, but the rail lines are still there. It's almost exclusively used by freight trains now. Or people that need to bypass Edinburgh. So we've just passed over a permanent AWS signal to let us know that the speed limit is about to suddenly change down to 40 miles an hour. This is Haymarket Depot, where we'll be coming back to later. I'm going to put the window wipers off because there's nothing for us to see here. And we're going to be going to platform 3, which is what that signal is telling us. So Haymarket's a nice big station. And the start of the platform, you can see, is where we go down to 48 miles an hour. So I'm just going to put us on step 1 braking, which is 24%. And now I'm going to put us to 60%. Oh, hello. Okay, wind us back to stage 1 braking. We're going to get an angry noise. Oh no, it's a happy noise. Cool. Right, so there's the 3-car stop board. Okay, so brakes are off. Here's a 6-car stop board. And so we're just going to gently increase braking and bring us to a stop. Happy days, so we're here, so we'll put the reminder appliance on and we will signal to open them doors. I'm having to use T because I don't think that there is a doors open button unless it's no. What's this? Sander. Oh, there's the sander button. Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So apply sand. Yeah. That's what that button. That this is a sander. So this train does have a sander, which kind of completes the topic that we were talking about earlier. Anywho, yeah. So we're now at Haymarket. Haymarket is a useful station for trains coming in and out of Edinburgh Waverley. It's good because it still is equally convenient to get to without having to go through the hustle and bustle of Edinburgh Waverley, which is a humongous station. So if all you're doing is going north or west, it can be a good station to get a hold of. You can actually go south as well, because some trains go direct from Edinburgh Waverley to England via the east coast. The west coast main line, so that's basically where this would take you. So if you keep going here, you would actually eventually get to my house. So yeah, so there's that. This add-on, I believe, predates the inclusion of the tram network. So this, all the way over here, is basically, there's trams that come down, and for the most part until this point, so they go from Edinburgh Airport all the way through the city on their own kind of tram tracks, and this is kind of the first point. So what happens is they join the road. They join onto this road here, and then they travel up this hill. So this is actually, it's not modelled, but this is a steep hill going upwards, and then they turn round to join onto this road, and then there's the Haymarket Station tram stop just over here, which this is the first time that the Edinburgh trams actually join onto the road network, and then they proceed down to Princess Street through Shandwick Place, which isn't modelled because obviously they don't need to model what you can't see or what you're not supposed to see. So yeah, so this add-on kind of predates that, I do believe. This is a shunting signal with some spicy apparatus. So you can see here it's got 3 layers of things, and a shunting signal is basically used in times where you would need to go through a red light or go down the wrong end of the track. For the purposes of connecting up to another train. So basically what this is saying is you have a green light, so double white means it's green. White and red would mean that it's not clear to go, and it's telling you to go on the up slow. There'll also be the up fast and the down slow and down fast available as well. Right, so We've been given the all clear from the guard, so we're going to take DRA off, and we're now limited to 40 miles an hour. Rain started again, but we're about to go into the tunnel, so we'll pretty much just give it a wee wipe off. Okay, there we go. So we just need to be mindful with the speed limits, because this tunnel network is quite large, quite hard to see things that you need to see. So we'll just give us some oomph, and you can see here you're now like quite rapidly changing your speed. So we'll get us up to 40 miles an hour. Well, it's just taking a while. So our signal screen. Yeah, so coming back to what I said earlier about the darkness, you can actually see around about here the glow of the lights off the tunnel wall. I actually can't see this at all on my screen. It's just pure black. So I'm just going to bring us now, because we're near enough 40 miles an hour, and we've got some time in hand. It's also the last train journey of the day for this train, so it doesn't actually matter if I run a little bit late. So I'm just easing off the accelerator to 0, and then I'm going to coast in. So I can see the light at the end of the tunnel up ahead, where the speed limit's 35 miles an hour. So I'm just going to give us some gentle braking, and we have a double yellow signal, and we're also told we've got the feather signal, and we're told that we are being feathered first left. So because of that, oh no, that's not wanted. So because we're going to the left, our speed limit now drops down to 20 miles an hour, which I've overshot by pressing D instead of A. So we're going to be taking the first left on this one. I'll just put the window wiper back on. So you can see here the junction is like this. So actually this might be a helpful time to pause. Oh, I'm speeding again. Whoops, that's a bit tragic. Yeah, so what I meant earlier, so I'm just taking a quick pause at the moment just to kind of give you a wee brief explanation. What I meant earlier about the being able to check to see what way the signal is doing is these junctions, these are called points, and they obviously change the direction of what line the train is going on. And actually, just by a visual inspection of them, you can tell what points are doing what. So this one, for example, is taking a train. Basically, it would be going on the line ahead, and you can tell that because if you look at a train's wheels, I'm trying to think if I can get a good view of them. Yeah, so you can kind of see there's a blade that sits on the inside of the track, and there's nothing that sits on the outside. The rest of the wheel just sits on top of the rails. So basically, that little blade that drops down into the inside of the track is what keeps it from flying off the tracks. And it also explains why trains do what they do. So if you imagine the inside blade, well, if the train's coming down this way, it's not going to catch onto this, it's going to keep going straight on here. Similarly, on the other side, if you were to follow the inside blade, it's not possible for the inside blade on this side to turn off down here, so it would keep on this side, and then the train keeps going straight. So that's how you can do a visual inspection on the points to tell whether it's going straight or turning. This one, for example, is turning, as you can see here, because the straight ahead would be going towards where my train is now, but you can see if you follow the inside blade, it's just going to skip through that gap in the middle and follow the track round to the left, and this one is going to catch on this one, which will then follow it round to the left. And then in order to avoid the train derailing, you have these little check gates here, which make sure the train is pointing on the right path. So if it's just going to sail right through that way, and any train, wheel that's coming around here is going to go through this gap here without derailing, whereas obviously if this was continuous, it would lift up over the track and then have to drop back down, which is stupidly dangerous. So as you can see, like, it can get quite complicated, but yeah, that's basically how you do it on a visual inspection of the track. Now I'm speeding, so let me unspeed myself. Okay. So we're now coming into the place where AWS no longer applies. That's what that signal means. So we're now not going to get a warning that this signal is at yellow, and it's a permanent yellow. So you have either yellow or red, because the next signal is almost always going to be a red, because this is a station terminus. So we're going into platform 17. Which is this one? Yeah, there's an example of a horribly complicated junction. Okay, so I'm just going to take this in nice and slow, because there is a train protection system that will put the emergency brakes on if it detects you're going too quickly. So we obviously need to be quite keen not to do that. So yeah. This is called a diamond points, and that's you know, a diamond junction rather, and it's quite pretty. It's quite pretty. So these grids are the train protection warning system, TPWS, and they've detected that I'm going satisfactory slow enough so they don't need to slam me anchors on. However, I'm just going to bring us to a nice and gentle halt. We've got a full minute in hand, which is helpful. So we're going to be unloading people and not taking on any more passengers. So let us now begin the process of unloading. And welcome to Edinburgh Waverley. So all these people are going to get off. I don't know why it's only open like the first two doors. Yeah, as I said, the thing it's interesting how the platforms can work in this sometimes. So yeah, Edinburgh Waverley. So you can't see the castle. Castle's not modelled. However, some of the old town and North Bridge is modelled. This here be the Balmoral Hotel. Can't see the Register House. There's yeah, the old Scotsman Hotel over there. Yeah, happy days. So if you keep going this way, this would take you into the East Coast Main Line going down towards Ingerland, and then as you can see here, you're not really supposed to make use of this, so it's not particularly well modelled. So yeah, happy days. Edinburgh Waverley is actually about to go through a redesign soon, so this roof has existed since Victorian times, I believe it said. Might be mistaken on that one, but I'm sure it said it was a Victorian era roof. I believe that's all going to get replaced, which is quite interesting. So yeah, this is the Waverley Bridge. This is where if you visit the town as a tourist, you will find a whole heap of tourist buses and buses to and from the airport. And this is obviously Edinburgh's major train station. You can tell by how many platforms there are. So this is the train that we passed earlier, the delayed service, which is now just arriving at Edinburgh Waverley, having just been behind us. But yeah, as you can see, there's several terminus platforms. So these two terminate. These two terminate. There's three here. Only two of them have platform access. These terminate here. One terminates here, and then there's two platforms that go right the way through, and another two on the other side that go right the way through. Oh, sorry, there's another four that go right the way through, and then there's also some terminus platforms on the other side, specifically two here, another one here, another one here, another one bites the dust, and yeah. So you know, it's a hugely busy train station. And the reason that they have some platforms that go right the way through is because trains like this will be going from London all the way up to Aberdeen on the East Coast Main Line. So now that this is done, what I need to do is I'm going to take the driver's reminder appliance off. I'm going to put the thing into neutral, and we're in neutral. I'm going to put the headlights in this one to the reds. Cool. So this carriage is now showing the red lights, and I'm going to get out and go to the other end, which, oh, and I may as well put the window wipers off, seeing as I won't need them. Cool. Window wipers are off, lights are correct. This part of the train is in neutral, so I'm going to use Control Plus to go around to the other side. There we go. Right, okay, cool. So we're now in the correct side of the train, so we're going to put our headlights on to full. Right, so we've now got the headlights on this end off. This part of the train is now going forward, so we'll put our reverser in forward, and here we go. Rain's back on again, so we've now got no passengers, so we are just going on a straight yeet to the depot. So we're going down the Z line. I don't have any insight on that one, that makes no sense to me, but it's called Z, so we're going down it. So again, we just need to watch our speed because we've not lifted our 20-mile-an-hour speed restriction. Oh, Mound Line Z, okay, so not quite sure exactly where that is. So just going to monitor our speed. And we have the same signal as other one but the opposite, so we're now going into AWS territory here. So we're just keeping our speed nice and low. And we've got a green light ahead, which is good. And we're feathered left, so we're going to go off to the left. So first left means that we're going on this one as opposed to any of the other ones that might be available to us. Oh, you hear that delightful scraping of the wheels against the rails. Horrible noise, horrible noise. Okay. So the speed limit's about to increase to 35 miles an hour, and as you can see, as we discussed earlier, the speed difference means that you can't just count up in seconds how long that's going to be. You basically just kind of have to stick your head out. We've not spoken about banner repeaters in a while. Banner repeaters are an interesting phenomenon, and that's basically because we can't see the signal ahead. You kind of almost can. But yeah, just to make it nice and clear, it shows you that the signal is showing green, so it uses the old semaphore system of it being diagonal for green and horizontal for red. So it's gone red because we've now broken the track sector. We're now in a tunnel, and we're not stopping at Haymarket with a green signal, so we're okay to accelerate up to 35 miles an hour, which we're going to do. We now no longer have a green signal. As you can see, we've now got a little red up ahead. A red, that's yellow in nature. Can't quite see if that's a double yellow or if it's a single yellow. It's a double yellow, so red 2 ahead, which is fine. So you see the sunflower dial come up because the AWS alerts us the track is not clear. Okay, so 35 miles an hour, just going to ease off on the throttle. Light at the end of the tunnel, so this is Haymarket. So we're now coming up at a different station, a different platform for the one that we were on. You can see here that I'm feathered off to the right, which is going to take us into Haymarket Depot, which is where we're going to park up this this train for the night. Cool. So we're going to have another AWS warning. So you see the sunflower goes away, and that basically is to stop you from not paying attention. Put our window wipers back on. Yeah, that's to stop you from not paying attention. So you can't just rely on a visual cue as such. So I'm just going to start slowing us down. 1, because we've got a red light ahead, and 2, because we've got the... Oh no, we don't have a red light ahead. But just because we've got the 25 mile an hour going off to the right, which is where we're going. So off we go. And this is 5 mile an hour off to the right, so I'm just going to bring us nice and gently. Okay. Oh, we're not. Are we going this one? No, we're not. Okay, we're going the next entry, I think. Yeah, we are. So we'll get the warning. We'll answer the warning. Yeah. So the sunflower dial serves as a reminder that the last AWS you activated was not at green. That's basically all that one does. Okay, so we are going straight ahead here, which basically means 5 miles an hour. So just going to bring us, slow us nice and down for that. So that's brought us to a halt, which is annoying. I'm obviously too keen on the brakes. And so yeah, welcome to Haymarket Depot. You can see here this is where some maintenance work is done, and many trains are. Oh, hello, gone too fast. Many trains are kept. So unfortunately, depot work isn't the most exciting because of the incredibly low speeds, but this is because there's lots of track workers walking about doing other stuff. Of course, with this being a simulation, it doesn't quite do it justice. There's usually a lot more trains here than is normally indicated. You can see the sheds where vehicles are kept and worked on, and I believe we're going over to the car wash, which is here. So this is the car wash. So we'll get the, well, this is the train wash. So we'll get the train nice and clean, and then we will get us taken back to wherever it is we're going to park. So we're going to the, yeah, okay, cool. So we're just keeping our speed nice and low. Oh wait, is it 2 car washes? Going to the car wash, yeah. Yeah, okay, cool. Cool. So yeah, this is the head shunt line, which is where we're going to be going after this. And this is basically used just to give us space to get there and then to kind of get back on a different line, because there's no point in us coming back through the car wash. So as we go through, our wash is going to activate, and we're going to it's going to clean up our, oh, hello. Yeah, okay. So we're going to be going to depot line 7, so I'm probably going to need some help with that. And it warned us there that the points are manual, so yeah, I just need to be careful of that. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we're basically going to be going to here. So if I do F1, yeah, so we're actually going to be parking this inside the depot here. And so we'll need to plan our route nice and carefully. So with one of those car washes cleaning us, yeah. So it gives you limited clearance warning, which is the thing that we talked about earlier with the red and white checkers. They actually did used to be just plain red and white checkers, but they've added writing to them just to make it abundantly clear exactly what it means. However, you know, yeah, if you don't quite know basic signage, there's a good chance that there's good reason for you not to be working on a railway. So we can't really leave our train unattended, so we're going to go through the washer and get our choo-choo nice and clean. There's a nice Class 37. I always think the windows in the Class 37 they just look so sad with the kind of like arch thing that's going on with them. But yeah, powerful, very powerful motors these. Okay. So basically we need to get to where we can see the, in fact, is there a shunting signal? Yeah, okay, so there's not a shunting signal, so basically this is all at my discretion. Oh, I'm speeding. Tragic. Tragic. So basically I need my last carriage to be clear of the junction, which is this one, so we're basically just going to hang fire here to make sure that's the case. If I had a shunting signal, I would make full use of the head shunt line, which is here. Obviously double red lets me know that that I should not be going any further than that red line, because there is no track, and I would make some train owner a very unhappy person. Okay. So we will do this. So if I was looking back, I could yeah, go on the other side and I can see there we go. So our last carriage is not beyond the signal quite yet. And it is now. Cool. So I'm just going to gently put our brakes on. Okay. We're going to be changing direction, so again I'm just going to put this into neutral and put this into neutral, and we're going to put the headlights back to red. Now in Train Sim World you can actually do this, but you can't really do this here in Train Simulator 2020, but we're effectively going to get out of the train here and we're going to walk over to our points, and we're going to start planning our route into Depot Line 7. So in effect we'd be walking back over to the points which are here. And as you can see here, these are manual points, so if you look at automatic points, which I'll just zoom away to see if I can show you some. Yeah, so these are automatic points. You can see there's nothing for you to operate on it. These are controlled by the signaller directly at some distinct remote location. Whereas these ones with the whopping great lever are not. So as you can see, if I click it, you'll see the points move, which kind of reinforces what we were talking about earlier. So this line is now going to the left. This line is going to the right, and I needed to go to the left, so we're now going to the left. This line is going to the right, I needed to go to the left. This is now taking us to line 5, so I need this to go straight, which it now is, and this one I need to be going straight, which it now is, because that's 6W, and this is 7W, which I need to take to the right, so that's that now sorted. Oh yeah, it's the other part here. So there's now no other points that I need to worry about. So our journey into line 7W is now sorted. So what effectively we're going to do, go back, is, you know, if we meander back over to our train, we're now going to go into this. Everything's neutral, so we're going to change back to this one. So we're going to put our headlights on here to indicate that we're going forward. You still need to do all of this stuff just to, you know, just to highlight that this train's about to move. We're going to put the window wipers back on as well. Okay, so we're going to give it some oomph. And so as I'm doing this, I have to do a visual inspection to make sure that I have set everything up correctly, which I doth believe I should have. So, coming up to the first set of points, and it's going to the left, and we want to go to the left, thus we are going to the left. So, we're over the first hurdle. Second hurdle, we should be going straight ahead, not to the right, which we're doing. So that's the second hurdle done. Third hurdle here, straight ahead, not right, which we've done, so that's all fine. Fourth hurdle is straight ahead, not right, which we've done. Cool. Fifth hurdle, straight ahead, not right, which we've done. Then the last one is the sixth hurdle, which should be right turn, not straight ahead, which we've done. So I'm happy that's us all nice and secure. Okay. So we've got a train stop sign here, which basically means that you need to bring yourself to a halt, which we'll do just now. It says whistle before proceeding, so let's give it a wee toot, and then we're going to bring ourselves up to speed. Okay, so yeah, we need to stop here. So we're now up to 5 miles an hour. And we're going to make sure this train is securely in the depot. And then that will hopefully be us. Okay, we're inside now, so we don't need to worry about the window wipers. So our last train's still out, our last carriage is still outside. So we'll bring us all of the way in. Obviously can't go too far because of the shutters. We're almost in. Yeah. So we're going to tweak on the brakes a little bit. Okay, that's it. We're done, so we're now going to start everything again. So we're going to put the thing into neutral, we're going to put the brakes into neutral. We'll use the key to put that off, and the engine stop button is here, which I can't put on. Ah, there we go. Right, okay. There we go. So, yeah, engine stopped. And that's us. Done and dusted. Perfect. So, yeah, welcome to Edinburgh Haymarket. We're now going to use this opportunity to go home after a long shift, and I can rest my voice and hopefully get better soon. Thank you very much for joining me for this train drive from Glasgow Queen Street to Edinburgh Waverley and then back to the depot. Hopefully next time I won't be quite as ill, and yeah. However, we covered some interesting talking points, so hopefully that was at least enjoyable. But woo, yeah. Anyway. Summary, more simming stuff in the future. Quite looking forward to get back into it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.